What you're looking at is my left thigh, and you're looking at this scar. It's a keloided scar that's never, ever going away. I'm going to always have this for my entire life, no matter how much cocoa butter or whatever I put on it. But I've had this scar since I was 14, and I will explain to you where the scar came from and the story behind it and what it reminds me of every day. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Tieesha, and I'm back with another video that I had some issues with trying to find it in me to record it. It caused me to, dig back into my childhood and really reflect on my inner self. And I wanted to eventually do this video because on this channel I talk about my journey from just being, a black woman on this side of the spectrum and evolving into being the best black woman that I can be, embracing my culture. And that means embracing some things that are not pretty, some things that are great, and all those things in the middle. So I started out this video talking about a scar that I have on my left thigh. And what brought this up was a video that I was tagged in on Facebook where this black mother goes to her son's school. I think her son is about in the 1st grade. And she's going through the school on this ravaging rampage to find her child. Allegedly, he was, acting up in class. In turn, a teacher called her to let her know about her child's conduct. And someone is recording this. And they follow the mother as she goes through the different buildings of the school on this ravaging rampage, yanks her child out of the cafeteria, yanks him outside while she's cussing at him, calling him all types of bad words such as the N-word in his face, yelling and screaming. Then she produces some kind of belt and begins beating her child on camera. She knows that she's on camera, which is why she turned up to the extra degree for this. And then I believe she's also hitting him with her hands. She's in his face. She's spitting his face. She's dragging him. And this has to stop. We don't talk about this behavior as black people because, every year Mother's Day comes around. And I struggle with Mother's Day and Father's Day a lot. And maybe I'll touch on that in the future. I don't know if I'll do it in this video. I don't know how long I'll have this video run. But I struggle with Mother's Day and Father's Day because we're supposed to overlook the bad stuff that some of our parents have did to us and made us really fucked up, and those of us who were able to know that this behavior was not good and we're able to flip it so that we do not continue the same generational curse on our children. But yet there's some who have fallen by the wayside and are really damaged and walking around and just messing up other people's lives because of the shit that their parents did to them. And I'm going to talk about this video. However, I probably won't edit in any clips from it. If anything, I'll put a picture, so that you can kind of see what's going on. But the abuse of a child, that was so hard. And then also coming from the background of me being a police officer, that's one of the reasons why I became a police officer. And I'm going to do a shameless plug really quick. This is November, and I'm participating in a 1,000-word-a-day challenge to eventually have my book published. It's going to be in the description. So if you watch this video months, even years from now, click the link in the description because I'll update it once my book is done, and I'll put some information in there. And it's about why I became a police officer. I wanted to help those people who do not have a voice, because that was me. I started out this video talking about this scar that I have on my left thigh. And how I got this scar on my left thigh, it's from my mother. Yes, it's from my mother. My mother, you've seen her on my channel. You may have seen her on my social media. And and this happened when I was 14. And it was during summer vacation I had some phone numbers, you know, some classmates and I, we all switched phone numbers, you know, we're headed to high school. And so throughout that summer, you know, we're talking about, hey, have you went school shopping yet, doing this. And my mother, you know how when you were in the house, we didn't have cell phones back then. Well, there were cell phones, but not like how the children now have cell phones. You have your phone with the cord in your room, and it's a big deal. You have your own phone in your room. And my mom, she'll pick up the phone a couple of times, you know, while I'm talking. And so she started accusing me within the span of like a week or something. You having these boys, these grown men calling my house. So she'll say, you got grown men calling my house. And I'm like, Mom, these are not grown men. These are boys my age, you know, I know them, you know. And today I'll say, Mom, they went through fucking puberty, you know, the voices get deeper, you know, throughout the summer. It just happened with my son, you know. And so the final time when she picked up the phone, they were calling for me. She picks up the phone, and there were some boys my age across the street. So, you know, when you're new to the neighborhood and stuff, and you're like, hey, I know you go to this school. Yeah, I'm going there. And you exchange phone numbers. Yeah, I live up here. You know, here's my phone number. Well, Mom, she picks the phone. She gets so upset. You got these grown motherfuckers calling my house. And she go clean off. It eventually resulted in her calling the police. And after she called the police on them, the police kind of laughed at her like, there's no crime here, ma'am. So we go in the house. She comes in my room and she snatches my phone out the wall. And she takes the phone cord and she starts hitting me with it. And I'm sitting there. I'm sitting on my bed. And next thing I know, I see this phone cord just coming down. And you know, as a child, you really can't fight back and defend yourself. You got to just sit there and take it. And that's when, you know, after she was done calling me all types of bitches and all types of stuff, my leg is bleeding. My leg is bleeding so bad. And at that moment, you know, I really, really hated her with all my heart. I thought about running away, but of course it's dark outside. So I'm like, I don't know where to go. I should have called the police on her, you know? And I'm just sitting there like, wow, she really freaking did this. And I got to live in here with her. And I hate her. I really do. Deep down in my heart, I really, really, really do. But of course, this whole thing, well, that's your mother. She gave you life. Bullshit. You're forced to deal with this over years. And so my way of flipping that is that I never want to do that to my child. You know, I'm his mother. Like, when he feels hurt, when he's hurting or he's sick, I feel that intensify like 500 billion times. When he's sick, I want that so that he does not have to go through it. All right, had to, you know, leave for a second and, you know, get myself together. But telling that story, my first time actually talking out loud about that story, and I needed to get that out. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a police officer. I wanted to identify, you know, when people are in these abusive situations, what can I do to get them out of it? What can I do to stop this hurt? When I watched this video of this little boy getting yanked out of class to do this to a child, I'm reading the comments of this video and I'm seeing other women agreeing with her actions, and I'm seeing men say the same. Well, if my mama didn't come and beat me when I was a child, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. This is not good. This is not cool to act this way. When I saw this video, she was on a ravaging rampage. She fought this little child, approximately a first grader, fought him like she was fighting another chick at the club parking lot. You know, this is not what you do, and treat your children this way. You do not gain respect from your children by beating them, by abusing them like this. So as I watch this video, but I want to just go through some things that came to mind about these toxic mothers. And I have this book next to me, Toxic Parents. This is a great book that I read that, you know, helped me put some things into perspective and, you know, not justify that behavior, but give me some insight behind it and see how I can change so that I do not continue to change the dysfunction, but also spread this news, and not really news, but this information to others. At the child's school, this lady went in there, severely assaulted her child because he was supposedly misbehaving in school. So some traits that I see in toxic mothers like this, and I'm going to speak just from the mother's perspective. I do have information about the father side, but I feel it would be more appropriate if a black man does that. So I will leave that video, that option, if a brother that's watching want to do a response and do that from the father side about toxic fathers, I welcome you to do that. Tag me in it. I want to see it, and let's do this. But one thing I know with these toxic mothers, they have a hatred for the fathers of their children. And that's one thing that I heard my mom say a lot coming up. She would say, you act just like you goddamn daddy, act just like you goddamn daddy, or you no good ass daddy, or something like that. Something to that extent. Now, he was a no good ass daddy, but many times when you see behaviors like this in these toxic women, they don't have the gentleness. They don't have the nurturing aspect of them. They don't have the femininity. You know, it's like, okay, what in your actions drove this relationship away? You chose them, you know? So why are you penalizing your children for your behavior and picking poor men to mate with, or your behavior that drove them away? I don't get it. It's not the children's fault. And it's like she took out this woman, she took all of her wrath and anger out on her child, you know? And you can definitely tell that his father is not in the picture. I believe it's safe to make this assumption, because if he was acting up or whatever, okay, wait till the child comes home. And the thing that my son, you know, that broke his heart when you know, he would get, you know, progress reports like that, or he would do something, call your father or go to your father and tell your father what you did. And because he has so much honor and respect for his father, it broke his heart, because he thought that he was breaking his father's heart, you know? And this is accomplished by not having to break your child's ass in the process. This is terrible. A lot of one of the excuses that these toxic women use, or these toxic females use, they're not deserving of the term woman. These females use, well, this is how my mother raised me. Okay, so we continue this toxic chain of maternal parenting throughout the generations. And when I think about something that was taught, I saw this on one of the installments of Hidden Colors. I believe it was Hidden Colors 3. It showed how the mother would be shackled in slavery, but the children wouldn't, because they knew that the mother would pass down the behaviors of, or the orders, the marching orders from the slave owner, and pass that down to her children. So when it comes to that, this is how my mother raised me. I'm going to make my child mind me. I'm going to chastise my child. Now, this whole chastise thing, that's something new. I heard about that from a female so-called mother from Alabama. And I'm like, and when I look and break her down as far as being a toxic mother, she fits all of it. No man wanted to stay around and help her raise her children. No man wanted to sit there and marry her and live out the rest of his days and provide and build with her. Too much masculinity. I don't see myself going toe-to-toe to fight a male, and I don't see myself going toe-to-toe to fight my child, my son. That's not what you do as a woman. Our job is to nurture, to be gentle, talk to your child. Which leads me to her wanting audience. It's like she kind of turned, well, I don't know. I can't say the person who recorded it was in cahoots with her, but I did hear some kind of comment from whoever was holding the camera. And maybe I don't know the intentions of this person, the reason why they were recording it. I don't know if the female mom told her to go ahead and record this and get some attention, but I noticed that these toxic females who happen to be mothers, they want an audience. Whenever my mom would talk about me or stuff that I did or stuff that my sister did or things like that, she wanted an audience. She wanted the confirmation, the agreements. So what does she do? She'll call my grandmother, and she'll look to get my grandmother to sign off on what she did or give her the kudos, like, yeah. On the other hand of it, in return, my grandmother, she took a lot of mental notes And she did threaten my mom at times to get us taken away or things like that. She would always come to, you know, our aid and rescue when my mom was just on her bullshit. And this video is out, but it showed all of the adults who were negligent and stepping in between protecting this child from this animal. She was a fucking animal to yank that child, to do all this. They saw her. Whoever gave her a visitor sticker knew what was about to happen. You just put not only that child, the school system, the school that allowed this happen, you put that child in danger. That child was supposed to be safe. That child, you, if anything, be quick to call 911 or anything else. But you let this monster walk the halls of this school, go into there where there's these other children and yank this child out. The other children saw that they were scarred. I'm pretty sure they went home and told their parents about it. This is not something that children should have been witness to, and these adults should have intervened and had her detained for this shit. Another excuse that these toxic females who happen to be mothers pass through the generation is they take this Bible scripture and they manipulate it to suit what they're doing. And it's the one that spare the rod, spare the child, or spare the rod, spoil the child, some bullshit like that. Well, we gonna break this down, okay? I'm gonna go into my ordained minister role for a second. We're gonna break this scripture down. I absolutely hate when so-called wannabe holy people use the Bible to justify their evil behavior. So this spare the rod scripture comes from Proverbs 13:24. And I quote, "Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but he who loves their child is careful to discipline them." Now, what I like to do is go a couple scriptures back and I go a couple scriptures down to get the full context. Although I don't subscribe to Christianity, it's a major part in my culture that gets twisted and manipulated. It's already an evil system from begin with when it comes to black people, regardless. But when they go ahead and use this to justify abusing children, that's when I have the problem out of anything. So we are going to go before this to Proverbs 13:23. It says, "An unplowed field produces food for the poor, but injustice sweeps it away." So this is talking about farming. Back in those days, a major way of life was farming. You got to get up and tend to the animals. You got to tend to the land. You got to, sell your produce. You got to get a yield. You reap what you sow. Okay, so when I'm reading this and the rod, at that time, the great number of people were farmers. What is a rod? You use that rod to herd your animals. You use it in your work. Discipline. Okay, what that's showing, and then plus, with the Bible is written from a patriarchal standpoint. So it's father who was the farmer and tended to things out in the field, and their son, their boy child. Okay, get your child a staff. Get your boy child a staff. Discipline him. Get up early to handle the duties on the farm. Teach him discipline to herd the animals. Teach him discipline when to slaughter the animals. Teach him discipline how to run this farm. Now we're going to go back one more to Proverbs 13:22. "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. A sinner with his is passed to the godly." So again, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. That's one thing that we're harping on right now is empowerment. Teach your children how to make money. Teach your children how to sustain themselves. Teach your children how to provide for themselves. Because when you do that, they pass it to their children. That inheritance is passed to their children, and so forth. At that time, animals, field, shit was property. You pass that down to your children. You get a whole bunch of goats, a whole bunch of sheep, some fields. That's your inheritance you're passing on. Then we're going to jump one after Proverbs 13:24. "The righteous eat to their heart's desire, but the stomach of the wicked goes hungry." We're talking about discipline to keep the family business running. That's what the discipline is. That's what the ride is. Then we jump down to, and it goes into Proverbs 14:1. Now here's when it comes to talking about women. A wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears it down. And that's exactly what this female who happened to be a mother just did. That's what all of them do. If you believe that beating your child, causing pain to your child is right, you are the problem. You are tearing down your home. You are tearing down your children. You are creating a monster for your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and anybody else that they come in contact with. You are creating these toxic monsters that are tearing down our fucking society and breaking up families. Okay, it's enough black people. We have a disadvantage when it comes to having, you know, this ideal family because of what's portrayed to us on the media, plus our post-traumatic slavery disorder that has not been addressed. You are doing exactly what is needed to continue destroying us. So we're going to get out of that. But to sum that portion up, the rod is work. Discipline is teaching your child how to make that inheritance to take care of the field. I bet you this chick doesn't even own her own property. I bet she doesn't even have life insurance. Doesn't have anything of value to pass out to her son, thus creating inheritance for her grandchildren. I bet not. Moving right along. Children should not fear their parents. It's not. My son, he does not fear me. He does not fear his father. He respects us. Because when I was pregnant, it was not that I had to raise me. I had to change completely, because I had to be ready. I was about to have a life that I'm responsible for, that we're responsible for. And we have to build this child, because I saw a quote, I think it was for like a chiropractor. It's easy to build a child than to fix an adult. And I totally agree with that. So I had to grow up. I had to become disciplined. I get up and go to work at a job that I absolutely do not want to go to when I was active duty to take care of him. Put on a badge and a gun to earn a living. I absolutely had my tough days, but your discipline is there so that you can provide, have something to pass down. But my other reasons behind it was that I wanted to help and be of service. Okay, I can't be of service and do anything for this country, for this world, if I'm birthing toxic people. You know, you can't do that. Like I said, respect is not given through fear. It's given through admiration, you know, and inspiration, motivation. But you gotta have something worth respecting. And you don't get that by beating the hell out of somebody. You do not. This female who happened to be a mother, her behavior, it mimics what we see on TV, especially when it comes to black people. When it comes to us, on just about every show that is supposed to bring in ratings, we see people fighting, just having street fights, being unladylike. This shit is not cool. And I'm not going to say I'm perfectly exempt from that. I saw the error of my ways and changed them. I had to change them. That's not what we are. You are gentle. You care. You nurture. You build. When the first, I don't know if I can say this, but when you look at any time of war or conflict or something, women are there as the nurses to patch people up and, you know, get them back whole. That's what we do. When our children are sick, I wish when my child is hurting, I could just take his sickness and just endure it so that he doesn't have to. When he's ill or he's hurting, I want that so that he doesn't have to endure that. That's who we are as women. We don't cause pain. We don't inflict it, especially on our children. You know, that is the worst. Your children those are the only human beings that have spent the longest time and who are the closest to your heart. They lived within, okay? And that's your most sacred, I won't say your most sacred, but it's like your most sacred connection. They know you, they were in you. What you felt, they felt. How can you cause harm? How can you do that? In the home. Now, this toxic female who just happened to be a mother, she went on Facebook Live and was talking about this ordeal.
You understand now? Now, I was wrong for calling my son a nigga because that's not how I want to raise my son, first of all. You understand? That is the last thing I would like to ever do to my son. Y'all might, I can go to jail, that's cool. But down here, they believe in your child getting his ass whooped. You understand? They believe in that out here. But y'all can be mad or however that scene may go. But half of y'all need to whoop y'all motherfucking kids' motherfucking ass. So be mad at me or however it is. He threatened that woman's motherfucking life, bro. He threatened that woman's life. And as me raising a motherfucking black son, you got me fucked up. So anybody got anything to say about that, that's your motherfucking issues, bro. Because you can't tell me how to raise my child, and I can't tell you how to raise your child. I know half of you hoes fucking dick in front of y'all kids. Don't let me get on here and buy y'all up, because I know half of y'all, bro. See that twerking and shit. What type of world y'all in? But y'all got me fucked up raising my child, bro. My child. I'm not
a woman keeping up her home. Your home is a place of peace. Your home is a place of rejuvenation. You are your child's first teacher. So when I'm listening to her on this Facebook Live, I hear loud, and I'm saying this word ruckus in the back. I hear a loud ruckus. I heard the word motherfucker. I heard lots of, if a child has to live in that, and I've been in some homes where I've seen like, wow, if I live here, I'll go crazy too. You know, I'll just fuck shit up if I lived here. You would go to their house, there's no food, or if it is food, it's corner store food, or just, it's nothing nourishing. People wearing shoes in the house, the carpet dirty, it smells bad, smoking cigarettes in the house. These are things that my mom did, you know, no food, smoking cigarettes in the house, exposed us to secondhand smoke, which is why I'm sitting here trying to overcome bronchitis. You know, these things, just yelling, cussing, this is not peace. It's not peace. She does not have a home of peace to raise these children properly. And to hit back on something else, being your child's first teacher. Once I started getting involved with the schoolwork, getting involved with teaching at home, that's when everything flipped. My baby, he signed himself up to run track, won first place. You know, my baby is a superstar. And I would have killed that if I had went through with every time a teacher called me or sent him home on a red conduct, I would have destroyed that. However, I know my baby. Well, he's a man now. I know my son. And I'm so glad that I wanted to break those chains of dysfunction and look into what is going on at school. Our children don't want to be at school where they are taught to worship everything that does not look like them. I mentioned it before in another video, and I have another video coming up about when I went to Brown versus the Board of Education in Topeka, Kansas. I haven't uploaded that video yet because I'm still trying to get some things in order. Our children don't want to be there. He doesn't want to pay attention to this teacher who is going to snitch on him, who is the cause of him getting dragged and beat. But then he has to go home and deal with the wrath of this menace. Can't win for losing. I'm going to leave it at that. This toxic female who just happened to be a mother was arrested. And the children were removed from the home as they should be. And I just want to stress in this video the importance of not celebrating this behavior of beating our children. We'll use the excuse, well, we see white people and their children, they fight their mom, they're going to kill all of them. No. So in turn, we come up and say, well, I'm going to beat my child, I'm going to do this so that they don't do that. I'm sorry, but that's some backwards ass thinking right there, okay? If you raise your child, if you nurture them, teach them something to sustain them for the rest of their life, you're on the path of not having a child that's trying to, you know, be a menace to society, or a child that is going to continue having dysfunctional relationships. I don't want to see my grandchildren beat. That is from slavery. We got to break that. That's not cool. We cannot beat our children. We have this in our DNA from the Myafa all the way down here to 2019. We cannot continue these old habits, this old slave ways, especially when we're not, as mothers, nurturing our children. Our children get a cold and we quick to go run to the hospital versus knowing how to heal our children. We want our children to have an education. We go send them to these schools where they're not wanted. We kick them out at 18 and tell them to figure it out. We don't prep them for the real world. And it's all because of our parents, our toxic parents, doing shit to fuck us up, abusive, neglectful, and this behavior is not to be celebrated. I recommend this book, Toxic Parents, and abuse is not okay. And it made me think about the times when I was on patrol and I would have this mother that acted just like this female in this video, bring her child up to me. If you don't start acting right, I'm gonna have this officer arrest you. And that really irks me, because when I look at the child, I'm like, no, sweetheart, here's a 7-Eleven coupon or something like that. I am not going to arrest you. I want to talk to your mother and see where she failed you. And we'll go from there. But sweetheart, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not. Because your thing of it is, if you want to talk about this whole discipline, you teach them how to, respect authority. You teach them how to take care of what they have, a sense of pride in their community, in themselves, in their culture, and for their parents and family, and they do that through you. That's why a lot of people, who come from families like this, they don't have children. They are kind of, odd, because they're trying to escape the damage that was instilled in them in their parents. And that's about all I got to say about this. It hurts so bad, and toxic mothers, toxic females like this, you deserve to be brought to justice. And I hope that a lot more people, when you see this, as schools as being mandated reporters, to let this ride, to let this child get abused without intervening. You really failed this child, and you failed every other child that's left in your care. You really did. I'm going to leave this at that. Let me know how you feel. Give me some information. Let me know if you're going to pick up and read the book Toxic Parents. And I will check you out on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. One more thing, I want to give a shout out to this company. I bought this shirt on Amazon for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I absolutely love this purple shirt. It is so beautiful. And like I said, purple, I talk about surviving domestic violence, military domestic violence in particular. If you head over to my other channel, I'll leave a link to pop up like right here, or a box somewhere in here. To do that, click the link in the description to get Toxic Parents. Stay tuned for my book that is upcoming. And yeah, I just want to call out this behavior, because it's time for us to check each other. It's time for us to stop having a sisterhood of failure. We can't keep encouraging this sick mentality to abuse our children in the sake of discipline and misquoted or misunderstood Bible scriptures and stuff like that. We have to end this tragic stuff. If you like this channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. Join me on my other social media platforms. Make sure you head over to my website, TieeshaEssex.com, where I have some great personal defense gear over there and some other unique items. Make sure you check them out and support, and I will see you on the next video.
If you could call yourself a great mother, if you could discipline your kids without cussing, fly queens who hold intelligent discussions, that's what a queen do, baby, salute.